Man, I gotta check my audio. Check. Checking. Check. Checking. Check. Checking. Check. Don't worry, YouTube. It's Jersey time. Oh, yeah. I'm going to pull this hood up, see if that helps the quality any. Ugh. It ain't helping the background, none. That's for sure. Checking. Check. That's a little better. YouTube, this is the glamorous stuff you don't get to see. I'll get through already watching though. Hell yeah. I might change spots. Let me see here. Let's see if the pillows help. Oh. Chad, I'm getting too old for this shit. "60 seconds, boys and girls." Sorry, I'm having some amazing barbecue out here in California.
All right, War Damn Eagle.
Hey.
Glad we got a couple people in the YouTube. Gonna have another fun Saturday night with the jungle, the virtual Tumors Corner.
We're just gonna have to deal with that.
Yep. You about ready to record? You got everything you need?
Yeah, man, let's kick it. I'm sharing the links out, but I'll get the stats up here.
Welcome to the chat, Pocket Watch, Ben C. Good to see you guys again. Always fun. Glad we got to celebrate so much together. Canoe Man. I knew he wouldn't miss it. I was starting to wonder.
No, he had to be here. He says, let's jungle, baby.
All right, you ready, Ben?
Let's get after it. Do we have plus minus on this yet? Not yet. Okay.
All right. I'm going to start recording. We'll see if it lags again this time around. We might have to, maybe when you're back in New York, we'll try it on your computer. I think just the combination of live and recording. I mean, I ran my Wi-Fi speed and it's crazy fast. So I don't know. Anyways, here we go. All right, guys, we are 3-0 in the SEC. We just took down LSU in Neville Arena by 15 points. Auburn 93, LSU 78. We were up 28 points with about 13 minutes left in the second half. It got a little squirrely late in the second half. I hate to have to bring it up because we were about ready to break them the way we broke Arkansas before. But shout out to LSU for staying in the game, making it interesting late. Ben, I got one question for you. You having fun? Oh, we lost. There you go.
This team, we got good.
Ben, you're breaking up on me here. You're breaking up on me.
I'm hearing you breaking up as well. I'm gonna check the mic in and we'll come back. Why don't you vamp for a minute?
We could start this recording over. Where's my thing at? There we go.
Check the microphone. YouTube, you're getting to see.
I didn't.
I'm good on this side,
all
man.
it was all good until we started recording. So we'll see.
Some of that might be the bandwidth.
I'll go back to recording here. I don't know how it's going to spit out at the end now that I've stopped recording at one point, but
Well, hang on. Let me try and record it on this end. Let's see how it goes.
yeah, you want to do it?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Hold on. Let me do one more thing.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, whenever you want to do it.
All right.
Oh, you're breaking up again. All right, guys, we are coming off a 15-point victory over the LSU Tigers, 93-78. We're now 3-0 in the SEC, which a lot of teams like Tennessee and Kentucky cannot say right now. We were up 28 points at one point in the second half, about 13 minutes left. We'll let that slip away. Got a little weird, got a little squirrely, but hey, a 15-point lead or win in the SEC, even at home in Neville Arena, is a great day. Ben, are you having fun?
Jackson, we're having so much fun, man. How's the audio coming through? We had some technical difficulties early. Want to make sure we're nice and crisp for you folks listening to the podcast.
Sounding a lot better now.
Excellent. Man, what a game. You want to talk about the importance of our second unit? Everybody's talking about it now, even the national media. But this was just another showcase of how valuable having that second wave of 5 talented guys coming in and sharing the ball is. Into this game,
did the second unit play better than the starters this game? It felt like for maybe the second game this SEC play, the second unit is what really gained us that lead, right? We were kind of back and forth a bit, and that's where we took the lead. It was the same with the Arkansas game, I believe. Like defense just incredible. LSU looked lost out there. We were turning them over like they were number one in the SEC, I believe, in steals, maybe in the country or something. We were the one that was constantly turning them over, and I love that the referees let them play. But our hands were active. Cardwell, CBM, KD, Trey, all of them out there were playing amazing.
what I was in this game was LSU is first in the SEC in steals, and we are first in the SEC in assist to turnover ratio. And this is a strength against a strength. Who's going to win? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we flipped the script. Auburn finished with 16 total steals today to LSU's 6. Auburn only turned the ball over 8 times. LSU turned the ball over 17 times. We more than doubled them up in both of those categories. Amazing basketball. We didn't distribute quite as well as we have over previous games, especially in that first half. But we still finished with 20 total assists on 28 made baskets. Beautiful basketball.
it was a lot of fun to watch for a while there. Like we said, a lot of this is gonna like poison our takes a bit, or change our the way we have to talk about this game, because there was a weird part in the second half when we were up 28 and they went on a 12-0 run, I believe, at one point. Maybe probably worse overall in the second half. There was one guy on their team, Hannibal, that scored 18 points in the second half alone. He scored 0 in the first, 18 second. We just took our foot off the gas. I mean, I texted Ben saying time to put the walk-ons in with like 12 minutes left in the half because we were just
And what did
dominating
I
so
tell you?
badly. And he said still early, and man, they went on. They had like a weird moment where they hit three threes in three possessions.
Four, four three
Four,
pointers.
wow! And we just took our foot off the pedal. Like we won this game by turning them over, doing fast break offense, getting points off turnovers. And when we slowed it down to a half court game to waste clock, when we started taking kind of lackadaisical shots that weren't necessarily the best shot we could get, the passing slowed down. The defense wasn't turning them over the same way. They got a little lucky with some of their contested threes, but it changed the whole momentum. Man, I was arguing after those first three threes, take a timeout. Sure, we're still up 20, but take a timeout and lay into these guys to get them motivated again. They look lazy out there right now. We didn't take the timeout. They got all the way back down to 8, maybe at one point, but it's just hard once you've let your foot off the gas and they've got some momentum to get it back going again. You can tell the crowd gets a little weird. You can't quite get it up again, but luckily, we're going to talk MVP. Luckily, CBM came back in the game and got the thing started again. It felt like it kind of like was a jet airliner whose engine stopped for a little bit there, and they had to go through all the procedures to make sure they could start the engine back while it was still gliding down. And luckily, we never saw ground. We never quite got to the ground, but it got a little squirrely. Luckily, CBM came and kind of got those engines moving, got some blocks, got some rebounds, got some steals, hit some shots. So thank you, CBM. And that might be a foreshadow of what my MVP vote's going to be.
Yeah, the internet's been talking about Chad Baker-Mazara when he goes from CBM to ICBM. He goes nuclear. This was another one of those games where every single time he came onto the floor, he was a spark plug. This is a kid you can tell loves basketball, loves Auburn, loves playing at home in front of Neville. And as we get deeper into SEC play, his play is continuing to be on an upward trajectory. I mean, say what you want about Trey Hannibal. He had a great second half, but Chad Baker-Mazara had a complete game. Do you want to read his stat line out, Jackson? Do you have that in front of you?
Yeah, I was just looking at the minute breakdown here because Chris Moore and Leo again did not have very great games, and now they're starting to do this thing where the last couple games it feels like all the starters come in and or the start of the game, and pretty early on they do a full second line switch, which I've enjoyed, and clearly our second line is thriving. But this game a couple times in a row they would have the starters in and then take Chris Moore out pretty quickly and put CBM in, and CBM would play the starters. I was starting to think, man, he's also playing pretty much all the minutes with the second line. So he must have some pretty high minutes. It's not overly bad. I mean, maybe if the game was close, it would have been, but he has 28 minutes, which is 4 more minutes than anybody else in the squad. Chris Moore had 8. Leor had 4. So he was really, that's probably at one point me and Ben were talking. I said, could he possibly be the best player on this team, actually? And he said, no, Janai Broom's the best player on this team, but CBM is the most irreplaceable player. And I think you're seeing that in the minutes, even though he's coming off the bench. So we're having some audio issues here, but Ben's breaking up again. But we're going to keep pushing through to see if Ben's audio will work here. But he had a big. You talked about the ICBM thing too, and he kind of like KD becomes quite the hustler out there that really like sparks our offense at times. And this game he did again, like about I don't know, fourth into the first half and really took this team and started taking this lead. He's just hitting all over the floor. He's hitting threes. He was 3 of 4. And I think you wanted me to actually read off the stat series. 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3, 6 of 6 from free throws, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Oh man, this doesn't have steals on here because he definitely had at least 5 steals. He had a lot of great plays with his hands where he's just long. He took long. 6. I'm hearing 6.
6 steals.
6
steals,
steals. Go ahead.
Jackson.
Your sounds good now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went ahead and killed the YouTube feed. I think that might be clogging up the lane here a little bit. Yeah, 6 steals. He added a block, which I know you love. Only 1 turnover, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and of course, to capture my heart, 4 of 4 from the free throw line.
And what was his total points here?
He finished
19
with
total points, career high for CBM, and led the team. Jonai Broom had 18, which was close, but CBM leading again. I just can't believe. I mean, he's one of those rare players, and I said it before SEC play came. I said, if anyone on this team, there's two guys that could accelerate through SEC play, which is just so rare. But CBM was one of them. Him and Aiden. Aiden still has a chance to do that. He played well this game, but CBM is a rare player that is going from at a conference to SEC and getting better into SEC play, was just shocking from what we expected out of him. Shocking for what we even expected halfway through at a conference play from him. I'm starting to think, I mean, like I said, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I started thinking about his eligibility. He has 1 year left of eligibility. I'm starting to think, enjoy CBM while you can. He's skinny, but as tall and lengthy as he is, hitting from three, dunking the ball, playing good defense, that's an NBA style body. And those guys go early. JT Thor went earlier than he should have. Several other players like that have that correct size the NBA is looking for leave early, even if they're not playing as well as CBMs right now. So enjoy him while you got him. We might look up at the end of the year, and this might be his only year at Auburn.
Now, I suspect he's going to go the Dylan Cardwell route. I think he's having such a good time being here, and especially the idea that coming back next year, CBM is going to be the guy. Janai Broom's definitely going to leave. There's a strong chance Aiden Holloway goes to the league. We're seeing KD Johnson and Jalen Williams graduate. Like, who's going to be that guy? It's going to be CBM as the big time returner, and I think he would crave that. Well, let's
God, I
talk
hope
about
Aiden
Aiden
doesn't.
Holloway's.
I
Yeah,
sure
let's talk
hope
about
Aiden doesn't
Aiden
leave early.
Holloway's
I'll
game
be
a little
so
bit.
mad if Aiden leaves early. Another short point guard that's not going to make an NBA leaves early again. So I hope he plays so well that he's a first round guy. But right now he's not. So
I mean, listen, you say that, but once again, we had him shooting the lights out in the first half. The second half is probably what cost him the MVP in this game. He finished 3 of 10, so not great from his typical shooting percentage. He's been around 35% for the year, so an excellent 3-point shooter. 5 of 13 from the field. Again, not amazing numbers, but not bad considering his size and where he's at. But more importantly, 3 assists and only 1 turnover. So he continues to lead all freshmen in the NCAA in assist to turnover ratio at 3-1.
when the team was running, when the team was turning people over and we were running, he was leading that pace, and I love it. So many times I looked up and he got that first pass from the center, the forward, when they missed the pass, and he was gone. He was across half court before you knew it, and that's what kept this tempo up. And even when we weren't turning them over, the tempo was at extremely high speed and extremely helpful. It ended up with a lot of easy shots from us because of that. Ended up finding a lot of open shooters because of that. We kept them sped up the entire game until we got into the weird half court offense. It got a little weird, but both him and Trey are pushing the ball. For the most part, there was 1 or 2 this game in the weird wonky part, but we're passing the ball from about like half court passes, and it's working. And we've not had that in the past, and that's a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, Aiden kind of just shot himself out of it in this one. He's been doing that a lot. I think you mentioned that already, but in the second halves, he's just not been as good. I mean, he started out 3 of 3 from 3, right, to start the game, just like he did against, I believe, Arkansas, maybe, where he was 2 of 2 to start and kind of just disappeared down the stretch. 3 of 10, just shot himself out of the game. Started taking a couple not great looks and then just started missing them. Yeah, so I
Well,
don't know what to do. Aiden's playing great from a point guard perspective. He's just got to be a little more efficient, I guess, from 3. He's got to hit some stuff in the second half.
yeah, it's really about the timing. A lot of his looks in the second half were good looks. LSU was trying to crowd the lane as they were trying to spark this comeback. And when we needed somebody to go 3-pointer for 3-pointer to keep LSU at arm's length, we were feeding Aiden. Unfortunately, he just wasn't hitting tonight. I think you're seeing a little bit of that jump from high school to SEC basketball. Aiden Holloway is having to play hard for 20 to 25 minutes a game, and that's going to affect your jumper as you get deeper and deeper into the second half. So I think we still have a chance to see him improve that as the season goes along. Everybody knows how good his stroke is. It's just about consistency over the course of the whole game. And then there's one other player that we absolutely have to talk about who did, in fact, go 1 for 1, perfect from the 3-point line.
It looks good, too. When he shoots, it looks good, you know?
Janai Broom. He finished with 18 points, 3 steals, 1 assist, and 7 rebounds to lead the Tigers once again. Just an incredible all-around effort from a guy who not necessarily is an afterthought, but is doing the dirty work of working hard inside, building up his stats over the course of a whole game. We asked 22 minutes of him tonight, which is a big deal, but just the consistency across the board. We're really going to miss Janai Broom.
Yeah, like you said, we're not forgetting him, but the fact that he's like the 3rd guy we talked about in this conversation, it's just because we expect so much from him that he could score 18. Yeah, Cardwell does this and we're losing our minds, you know. But Broom's we've just gotten so used to him scoring 18. that 3-pointer is so smooth. You think it would go up a little bit in percentage. I hope he keeps shooting them at this point, but he went through a pretty bad skid there where he missed a lot of them in a row, maybe 13 in a row. So it looks good. Love when he hits one. But I think it comes down to, if we're going to crown the guy, it's got to be CBM again, which would be 2 out of the 3 so far in SEC play for CBM, which is just cross your fingers, hope it just keeps going up like this, because this is a wholly different team if CBM can keep playing like this.
I mean, again, we just go back to thinking about last year's team. And let's talk about Dylan Cardwell, because Dylan Cardwell is part of that second wave that we were hoping could make one more leap. We've been seeing him slowly and steadily get better every single year. Last year may have been a little bit of a step back, considering that he was playing behind Walker Kessler the year before, and everybody was just afraid to go into the lane. People aren't as afraid to go at Janai Broome. LSU, especially early, they went at Janai inside a lot, and they had a pretty athletic big man.
Baker guy from LSU was really backing down Janai, and it was really interesting to watch. Janai's a great defender, but this Baker guy had his number a bit, was backing him in, doing some really nifty moves underneath that looked like some stuff that Broome usually does on the other side of the court. And they were going back and forth. It was getting a little spicy. And then Cardwell came in and messed everything up. Cardwell's just a freak defensively now. I think you can officially label it. That's the thing that he took the step up this year. And we didn't necessarily see it the entire out of conference, or almost couldn't admit it because you're playing inferior opponents, but his defense has become elite. His hands are great. He's getting great rebounds. Every time I look up, he is in the sky getting one of these rebounds. It does not get close to anyone else to even have that rebound, because he lives above the rim while Jonai lives below the rim. And it's just a great double team there. That you on a game where you need offense, Jonai can thrive. That Arkansas game where he just took over down the stretch. And a game like this, where a big guy started having our number a bit, Cardwell comes in and just that second line freaked them out. Like you said, I don't know how many turnovers we caused. I think we have over 17 turnovers for LSU. And we had 26 points off those turnovers compared to them having 8 turnovers from us and getting 10. So 26 points off turnovers for us, 10 for them. Just a ton of fun to watch the defense, and Cardwell leads the way.
And Jackson, I can't believe you're not going to bring it up. Dylan Cardwell, 4 block shots tonight.
Whoa,
including
and it
2
felt
block
like it.
shots.
It felt like
including
it.
2 block shots on a breakaway possession where the only man between LSU and the basket was Dylan Do-It-All Cardwell, who rejected 2 shots. He had 6 rebounds, and he had an amazing steal in a trap at midcourt. Just incredible.
Chat, get your MVP votes in, because I'm about to crown him. But I Bump Fuzz at Reddit says CBM tonight, 19.6 steals. Holy crap, man. I keep forgetting how all the stats CBM put up tonight, but 6 steals were huge. Keep Cool Coolidge in CBM is the MVP easily. Splashed his threes, dominated steals, and hit every free throw. Ben loves that. He should have gotten 7 more free throws, at least with how the game was being called. Yes, I am a certified mad. I'm certified big mad. Ribs and Whiskey said, how do you say CBM in Spanish? Chat, let me know if you disagree with CBM, but I think you probably don't have, I don't know if Red Mount Vodka comes all the way over to LA or not, but I've got my Charles Barkley owned Red Mount Vodka, and I'm going to take a shot here, celebrating our big victory and crowning.
You gotta take one for both of us.
I'm doing 2 here because of Ben, it seems. I don't know if we can get that. Maybe at the chat later we'll do it. He's got his Tiger jersey. CBM, congrats to the MVP. Shout out Redmont Vodka.
Redmont Vodka with the shot of the game. And Chad Baker-Mazara, you want to talk about shots of the game. His 3-pointers continue to come at clutch moments. We have been begging for a guy year after year that when we need a 3-pointer and we get someone open, can just hit a clean look. And our guy this year has been Chad Baker-Mazara.
Which is crazy. We thought it'd be Denver Jones, but CBM. The real thing about CBM too is people said he could shoot, right? People said he had a good shot at San Diego State when he was the 6th man, which, holy crap, he's headed for the 6th man award again, isn't he? But he could hit a shot, but it's more than that. He's getting in the lane, drawing fouls, hitting jump shots, playing great defense. I know Matt was ragging on him last game for some of his defense, but he's getting 6 steals. So that's got to be something there. And I know he's probably not banging on the boards, I said, but he's on offense. He's becoming a go-to guy a little bit. I mean, at least in this game, when we need to turn this thing around, CBM was the one that did it, which is huge when you have a Jonai Broome on the team. You got Jalen Williams on the team. You got Aiden Holloway on the team. He's kind of taking, maybe that's why KD's playing so well, honestly, if you think about it. Like in the moments where the team needs somebody to step up, KD used to sense that blood in the water and kind of just put his head down. It worked, a decent amount of time. Now it's CBM that's kind of sensing it and scoring, and KD's still out there to sense that blood in the water on defense. And that might be the reason why KD's a little more efficient than he was before.
I mean, they're an energy tandem, but the thing that's made KD most efficient is his willingness to defer this season. And that's due to having a weapon like Chad Baker-Mazara around him. Chad Baker-Mazara is also willing to pass, but you saw a little bit of this tonight. Ben C's pointing this out in the chat that Aiden Holloway and Denver were out there running with that second group a bit. There was a time where it was Denver and Aiden rather running point and the entire group of backups. And you can just tell how much these guys love the ball movement and the willingness to pass and everybody looking for that cutting lane. We saw KD go to the basket again and again on amazing cuts. He finished 6 for 6 tonight at the line. I think he's shooting 80% from free throw on the year, which is hugely up for him.
Can we do a Ben award, like a year-end award for the best percentage from free throw during the year or something like that? We'll name it after you.
Yeah. We'll get a little statue made for sure. But right now, the guys that are in contention for that are Denver Jones, who we once again saw attack the basket in big ways tonight. Really great work trying to get inside. We saw KD Johnson hit all of his free throws. We saw Chad Baker-Mazara hit all of his free throws. We saw Dylan and Janai Broom only missed 2 free throws the whole game. And I said it was we were getting close to the end, that if we can hit free throws at a good clip, that's what's going to keep these games that are out of hand out of arm's reach. And that was how we were able to put LSU away.
Speaking of efficiency, I just saw Jalen. I don't know why I don't ever expect this, but it's every single time. Just insane efficiency. 2 of 2 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, 3 of 5 from the free throw line for 9 points on 24 minutes, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. So he's just efficient again. I mean, I wish he would do a little more sometimes because he is so efficient. He does seem to hit everything when he does take the shots, but he's driving the ball a lot more now. He went for another game ender dunk. He didn't get it again, but those are going to happen. He's gonna hit one, and sooner than later, he's gonna get one. Every game, take another shot.
He hit a massive tomahawk against A&M.
Yeah, but like the ones I'm talking about are the ones where like it's going to end a man's life.
You're right.
He's tried like 3 or 4 times this year now, and it's like he's doing it more and more, and he's driving towards the basket more and more. There was a very distinct play. I can't remember if it was like early in the LSU run or late in our run, but he just went into a guy's chest and got the blocking foul and went and hit 2 free throws, and it would have totally been a charge last year. But that's why you drive through that. If he floated that or jump shot that, which he's not doing as much now, thank God, you could miss. That time you run through the guy, they call it the blocking foul, and he went and hit his 2 free throws. So keep doing that. I'm loving him. Every time I'm watching him, he's driving the ball.
And again, Jalen finishing tied with Janai with 7 rebounds for the team lead. He had 3 assists, including an amazing undercut pass to a backdoor Chad Baker-Mazara that finished on a thunderous dunk. The things that Jalen Williams does for this team just continue to improve every single week. It's all the dirty stuff. It's all the stuff away from the ball that you see. And it was nice for him to get a break after the 35-minute gauntlet we put him through against A&M when we absolutely needed Jalen Williams to be the man.
Speaking of dunks, how about that reverse dunk from KD? That was pretty sweet.
We've been waiting for that for a minute. We know that KD is athletic like a freak, and he got loose in the open court, spun backwards to the basket. You only wish the game hadn't been quite so out of hand when it happened.
I mean, speaking of another guy that finished at the basket, he didn't have a great game this time. He just has to hit his open threes, and he's not necessarily doing it. We didn't need him to do that this game. Denver Jones with 4 points, 2 of 5 from the field, 0-1 from three line, 19 minutes. Played decent defense. He finished through contact on both his 4 points, I believe. Yeah. No free throws. Yep. And I remember thinking, good, that's what we need you to figure out how to do. Is finish at the goal. Same with Aiden Holloway. He hit a really hard 2 at one point that I don't know if it's always repeatable, but I've been watching those 2 guys to see if they can drive the ball and finish. And so it was good to see that even if they didn't shoot threes quite as well as I thought.
Speaking of guys finishing, how did we miss this? Jalen Williams put the game away at the very end when LSU had crawled back and they were flirting around to try to get the lead back to single digits again. What does Jalen Williams do? Hit a 3-pointer and 1 at the top of the key, sink the free throw. Good night, Moon.
Was that at the end of that? I thought that was the end of the first half. He did that.
That was the end of the first half. You're right.
Yeah, but in Texas A&M, he did that. I was about to say, because at Texas A&M, he sealed the game with a 3-pointer, and he was talking about that during the week. At the end of the first half,
Yeah,
He ended up hitting
51
a
points.
4-point play, and it was a big deal. And it looked like we were about to crush them the way we did Arkansas, where they were just going to give up. But hey, shout out again to them for staying in the game. I hope it wore them out. We have enough guys to where we can do that. I just wish maybe we had taken a timeout at one point. Who else haven't we
Yeah.
talked about yet? Cheney Johnson looked all right out there after a disaster game against Texas A&M. He looked serviceable
Yeah.
again. He hit an open three. He had a dunk or two. He played some good defense. Still not great. Still, he's definitely, that's another shout out to CBM and Aiden for being able to accelerate through SEC play. I think Aiden might be playing better in the SEC play so far. CBM definitely is. Cheney's the one guy that's kind of fallen off a bit in SEC play. So the fact that he was serviceable tonight is a good sign because LSU is 2-0 coming into this and might have a decent team. Who was the guy on their team that was missing for several games and they're kind of crediting that like now he's here, they can play really
Jalen Cook,
well?
number 3. We held him to 18 minutes. He finished 3 of 8 from the floor. He was 1 of 5 from 3, which is huge. And we forced him into 5 turnovers. His big thing since coming back is that he's made the LSU offense much more efficient. That he was leading the steal charge for them as well. I think averaging, or no, it was Baker that's averaging. No, sorry, completely wrong. Wright is averaging more than 2 steals a game for them. But Jalen Cook coming in and running the point, he was a guy that Bruce wanted, but was told was not going to be eligible to play. So if Bruce had known that he was going to be allowed to play this year, he definitely would have tried to bring him to Auburn. But he's
Which
made LSU a much better team.
So the deal with that, right? Because a slew of players that got denied a one-time transfer. A lot of these guys, I mean, you've heard my rants on this podcast many times if you stuck around about the one-time transfer stuff and how stupid it is that they're not either have a rule or don't have a rule. Don't say one time when you're gonna let people transfer 5 times. Anyways, apparently it was like a lawsuit or something around the other sport we don't mention on here, and they kind of did that timing wise. They finished that up at the end of the other sport, and it kind of cascaded into college basketball like so many things do. And all of a sudden, like dozens of players that people have been waiting on to become eligible just became eligible halfway through the
Well, the,
season,
the
right?
the lawsuit was against the entire NCAA and the apparatus, basically saying that this rule was arbitrary and capricious. It didn't make any sense, and the judge put a temporary injunction against it. And
How
the
many times have we heard
NCAA,
that? How many times have we heard that in
oh,
sports recently? Restraining orders against schools, restraining orders against the NCAA. Like it's just chaos out right there. So they make a rule, and then one player does a restraining order against that institution that made that rule, and like just breaks the sport basically.
yeah, I mean, what happened there is they basically realized that because of the limbo that this is going to leave so many people in, they went ahead and gave blanket immunity for the year. So the one-time transfer rule has been waived for every sport for this season.
Ben C said Cook had a waiver they got to play. They got to play after the TRO in another case. Is that the case you're talking about? I
Yeah,
assume. Okay.
that's the one. Yeah, the
God, you got
TRO.
to keep up with so many stupid things in college sports these days. I got to like become an expert on freaking nuclear arms to keep up with CBM.
Which reminds me, we just did a great interview with Coach Ira Bowman, who's been one of our best recruiters over the last few years. He's been here for the golden age of Auburn basketball. Jackson sat down with him and talked about the difficulties of navigating this brand new world. And it really gives you an appreciation for how good this staff is and how they're able to go out and find guys, not just talented guys to bring in like Arkansas has done year over year, but bringing in players that are actually going to buy in and believe in what Auburn is trying to do. And we're reaping the benefits with this overall team sport. I mean, look at it. You got 5 guys that played over 20 minutes, but you got another guy with 19, another guy with 17, another guy with 18. I mean, we just continue to see incredible balance up and down this roster. I would say right now, we have a solid 8 or 9 guys that are going to get real quality minutes. And then we continue to have some serviceable backups. I mean, you talked about the improvement of Cheney Johnson's game. The last thing that I would end with is just talking about the downhill trend that Chris Moore is on. I don't know how we right the ship for him. He had a great cut underneath, feed to the basket, one-on-one down low, an area where he should be strong and willing to go up and go through some contact, maybe draw a foul. And he just seems to be the only one that's really shying away from the moment.
It's weird because we've had moments where we've talked about CBM in a positive light the last 2 years. So it's just weird in his last year that it just seems to regress so much. I know he's had some injuries here or there, but no one's really talking about that. And if you didn't bring up him up, I was going to, because in that Ira Bowman interview, which go back and listen to that. We love getting these interviews. It's a lot of fun. I think you learn a lot about the team through them. every coach we've talked to, and you hear it from the beat writers, everything, they bring up Chris Moore's leadership over and over again, how great his leadership is. He's one of the first guys there. He's the guys that keep people accountable. I just don't know why he's fallen apart so hard. And it seems like you can't really like shrink his minutes any more than you're doing now because he's the leader of the team, it seems. He seems like he's the heart of the team from everything the coaches are saying. So it's just kind of just not great that he's playing so badly. They have to be able to play him from like a motivational standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. But yeah, he missed a bad three too. Like it's weird because a year or two ago, he was leading us in three efficiency at one point. He was really looking good for an injury at one point. He was an offensive rebounding machine. He was just always in there hustling, banging on the boards, playing good defense, just doing the little things that would help you win a game, getting some steals, just being more active than anybody on the court. And now he disappears, and you don't have to disappear on defense and for offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds, but he's doing that too. So I don't know what's going on. It'll be some more watch. We saw CBM played how many minutes? 28 minutes. I mean, that's not so terrible in college basketball. You would like maybe a little bit less compared to, everybody else on the team that's playing reasonable minutes. So just something to watch. And Lior's not playing great either. Lior's whole thing was he used to be able to play some decent defense, get some charges called, hit an open three when you got him. I don't think he's hit an open three in a long time. So that's kind of defeating the purpose of what made Lior able to be efficient in SEC play.
Yeah, and that and his defensive footwork, which we've been talking about all year, that's just kind of taken away the best parts of his game. But we continue to see him get at least one solid rotation in there per half. We'd love to stretch that maybe one more, but if we're staying out of foul trouble, it looks like that one rotation per half is about all he's going to see, unless he somehow magically gets hot. Jackson, you want to take a look around the league, look around the NCAA, see what's been going on this week?
Yeah, let's do it. Mr. Beautiful in the chat says we were a little too sloppy and missed too many close shots and still beat them comfortably. That's something to think right there. Like I think we did a good job of not freaking out too much about that second half lull. It happens. These are good SEC teams. We're a good SEC team. You can't stay that hot the entire game a lot of the times. But yeah, we still, it's kind of crazy. We still beat them by 15. So
yeah, and again, if you're up by 20 points, you don't want your team banging inside up 20. Like stay outside, shoot the jumpers, it's fine. So we had a bunch of teams lose this week. Number 2, Houston lost on the road on Tuesday, as did number 1, Purdue. BYU went down on the road against Baylor. They're ranked 18th. And number 17, Colorado State went down to Boise State. Fast forward through the week. On Wednesday, Kansas lost on the road at UCF. Tennessee, ranked 5th, lost on the road at Mississippi State. Clemson boosted our metrics by losing to Virginia Tech on the road. They were ranked 21st. Number 9, Oklahoma lost to TCU. And number 11, Marquette, who looked unbeatable at the beginning of this year, lost at home to Butler.
So how many in the top?
On Thursday,
how many in the top 10 lost this week?
I believe 7 out of 10.
Wow.
Somebody dropped that in the chat if you got it. On Thursday, the unthinkable happened. Gonzaga lost to Santa Clara. Gonzaga is currently ranked 23rd. They might be unranked for the first time in 4 years. And then on Friday, we didn't have anybody that was ranked play. But so far, Saturday's been an interesting game. Tennessee won on the road and managed to beat Georgia, which is great for us.
Kept it real tight. It was down. There was I think a 1-point game with like a minute left or something. Like it was very close down the stretch.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to going to Athens, but
that's what a good team does though. Tennessee, I think they were even down 10 at one point in the second half. And so like, how hard we've struggled even with our best teams away in the SEC. So I want to like criticize Tennessee for losing on the road before and then struggling against Georgia, but that's just how it is in the SEC. And we're going to have a lot of games like that. And if we pull out wins at all, I don't care what the score is. If you win in the away game in the SEC, that's a good win.
Yeah. And again, if you hold serve at home, you finish 9-9, you're on the bubble. So when you start stealing those games on the road, every game you steal on the road makes a huge difference. We had Oklahoma lose a second time, this time to Kansas. Oklahoma was ranked 9th. Kentucky, number 6, went to College Station and could not stop Wade Taylor IV. They lost that game 97-95 in overtime. San Diego State went on the road and lost by 18 to New Mexico. And then we had one more loss. Let me see here. Oh, yeah. Number 2, Houston lost again, this time on the road to TCU.
We might they'll probably jump ahead of them right after they've lost 2 games.
I don't think we're going to jump ahead of Houston just yet.
How many losses?
I think we're in. That's just their second loss.
Okay, yeah.
But our odds of moving into the top 10 are looking better and better all the time, particularly with the way the metrics have been trending. So it'll
If
be
you're looking,
interesting to see.
I'm looking at the SEC standings right now, and the big thing is that Kentucky's taken a loss and Tennessee has taken a loss, and we have not. And I mean, I think we thought that Arkansas away game was huge. I think Arkansas might, Stormin Norman thinks that Arkansas might be the worst team in the SEC, and they're looking really bad. They lost a pretty bad one at Florida today. But we're 3-0. The only other undefeated team right now is Alabama. They are playing as we record this podcast while we're live. They're playing at Mississippi State, so that's going to be a big one. Mississippi State just came off beating Tennessee at home. This game is at Mississippi State.
not
So
not just beating Tennessee at home, they dropped 100.
oh wow, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, that's an
So that
incredible
that'll
game.
be interesting. So we're really glad they beat Tennessee. I'll be really glad if they can beat Alabama. But if they beat Alabama and Tennessee back to back, even though both have been home games, they will probably enter the top 25, I would guess, and they will be in contention for the SEC. They lost one already. I'm not sure who to, but that'll be something to watch. Would absolutely
Oh, sorry.
love.
I got to correct that. I got that completely wrong. That was Ole Miss that beat Florida and dropped 100 on them. Mississippi State beat Tennessee at home 77-72. So not quite a rock fight, but a lower scoring affair and a good win.
Yeah, Ole Miss is still in this
11
thing.
right now. Yeah.
Ole Miss won another game today against Vanderbilt, I believe, at home. The biggest stuff to watch in the SEC, if you've been paying attention for a while, are these away games. If you can win away, that's so impressive. So when Mississippi State, even if they beat Tennessee at home and Alabama at home back to back, that's good. That means they're probably a good team. But winning at home is kind of holding serve. Winning away is what you're really looking for. So I won't judge Alabama or Tennessee too extremely harshly if they lose away at Mississippi State. But hopefully, that'll be a sign to us that Mississippi State away might be a harder game than we were thinking.
Yeah, and just again, every time you can steal one and separate yourself just a little bit further. If we get one game up here, now we talk about defending a lead, which is where you want to be at that last TV timeout using the MAT system. You want to be defending the lead. You don't want to be chasing it. And next week on Wednesday night, we go back to our unlucky Native American burial ground in Nashville. Auburn's going to be on the road playing at Vanderbilt in Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to have Matt Donaldson there in person. Hopefully he's going to get live on Instagram at halftime, give you some instant analysis. But if you're going to be in the Nashville area and joining the Auburn Nashville Club for that game, give us a shout out. We'd love to feature you.
We, I believe, as a consensus, in our SEC preview episode, which is still worth listening to, guys. There's a lot of fun stuff in there. Even though we're 3 games in, there's still a lot of good stuff. We thought in these first 4 games were important. We kind of circled that Ole Miss at home game as a big one because Ole Miss was undefeated at the time in the top 25. And we thought Arkansas, Texas A&M, LSU, and Vandy, we thought, I think consensus, that we'd lose at least one of those, maybe 2. The more pessimistic of us said, yeah, we'll probably lose 2. The more optimistic said, we'll probably miss 1. I don't think anybody thought we'd be undefeated through the Vanderbilt game. And we might still lose that. And we might still go in with a loss there. But with Kentucky with a loss and Tennessee with a loss, and the fact that we might start 4-0, Vanderbilt does not look very good. Like you said, it's weird in Memorial Coliseum. I believe it's called War Memorial Coliseum in Nashville. I'm hype. And we're not, and we talked about in the SEC preview, are we ring chasing? Are we going to, we saw in the Jabari Walker-Kessler year, we were ring chasing. And it is a different way of playing, in my opinion. We kind of covered up some of the things we could have fixed just so we could kind of put our head down and get enough wins to get that ring. And it was worth it. This team, I would have said, if things look a little rocky here or there, it's time to change some things up, do something differently. We're about win that Vanderbilt game, and we're ring chasing. And it's going to be about finishing off the SEC no matter how we have to do it. So that'll be something interesting to look at.
For sure. I mean, again, if you pick up that big win on the road, it's another monkey off of our back. We talked about those first 2. Winning in Bud Walton was huge. Managing to overcome Buzz and the way that he always wrecks our offense with his game plans was huge. We've seen this team win in different ways, but more importantly, we've seen our depth hold up against this quality SEC schedule. We've got Ole Miss at home next. You got to feel good about taking them on a Neville. And then we've got another huge road contest in Tuscaloosa with an Alabama team that can't seem to stop anybody. So just imagine how you're going to be feeling if you come out of Tuscaloosa at the end of January, 6-0 in SEC play. We could be up by as many as 2 games in the SEC race, and then you're really ring chasing. But I think this team has shown all of us enough. They've shown me enough to think that we could compete for an SEC championship.
I was texting the gang about this this week, how well our schedule sets up if you think about it. Now that we've seen kind of things shake out a bit. That at Arkansas game was supposed to be tougher than it was, but to get them one time at Arkansas and to get that is huge. Because if you look down the rest of the schedule, if you're looking at contenders here, uh, Alabama is tough. You have to play them both ways, but their defense isn't great. We'll see how they do against Mississippi State. If they beat Mississippi State away and win, so it'll be a big game in Tuscaloosa, a tough win. But the two other big contenders are Tennessee and Kentucky. We only play each one of them once. Kentucky at home. We have not won in Lexington since 1988. And so the fact that if we're ring chasing and we have Kentucky just at home, only one game, huge to set up this year like that. Same with Tennessee.
Huge.
It sucks. We have to play them in Knoxville, but there's no schedule where we don't play one of those two guys away. And usually we play one of those two guys twice. So the fact that we're only playing Kentucky and Tennessee once each, and the one that we're playing away is Tennessee, which we have had their number, that's amazing. We've set it up that way. Same when you look at the rest of the schedule. Play Ole Miss, play Mississippi State. I think we played Vanderbilt twice, who's not a good team. Georgia.
Yeah, we're lucky that Vanderbilt's down this year, but the downside is we're going to play Georgia twice. Georgia's an old, savvy team. You saw how they tested Tennessee. Going into Athens is going to be a nightmare. I think
but if you're going to play somebody away, that's one of the few that you're like, okay, I guess if I have to pick,
I don't mind them.
In the SEC.
I think what it's going to I think what it's going to come down to for us is we still don't quite know just how good Ole Miss is. What they did to Florida was incredibly impressive, but I think we know how good Mississippi State is. I think Mississippi State is looking by the end of the year to be one of those top 4 seeds that's going to get a 2-game bye in the SEC tournament, especially getting Tolu Smith back, which is huge. We didn't know when he'd be back this year, but now that he's back for conference play, they're looking so much better.
I didn't even mention this, but like I'm just like thinking of away games because I assume that we can hold serve at home. Sure, Alabama might give us a run. Kentucky will be our toughest one, but away is what I'm most worried about. And we don't play Kentucky away, which is huge. We don't play Texas A&M away, which is absolutely huge. You saw how tough that game was in Neville Arena. So if that was away, I do not think we won that game at all. So our away games are Alabama, unavoidable. That's just how it is. They're a permanent double rival there. At Mississippi State, at Ole Miss. Let's see. At Florida, that's not great, but Florida's not playing that great either. They're not ranked or anything. At Georgia, at Tennessee, at Missouri. I'll take that. I mean, you have to pick and choose in the SEC. It's just, I don't know. I'm just gushing over how the schedule could set up. We might drop some here and there, but like you can't ask for a better setup than this.
Well, and you have to think a couple of years ago, we thought going into Gainesville, it was our best chance to finally get a win. Florida was reeling. They weren't very good, but it was Colin Castleton's last year, and they absolutely torched us in Gainesville. So late in the year, we're going to have a chance to get one more monkey off our back. You know, Bruce is always talking about making history. We have a bad history in Gainesville, probably almost as bad as our history in Bud Walton. So getting a win down there would be massive, massive, massive.
Mississippi State might be ranked by the time we play them, depending on if they beat Alabama today. I don't know what the rest of their schedule is. I guess we don't play them until January 27th. So I don't know. We'll see. But we don't have a ranked team on the schedule until Kentucky at home. And then we have at Georgia and then at Tennessee, which will not be fun to play back-to-back, but only 2 ranked teams the rest of the way, which is a little strange for the SEC right now with how well we're playing. We have a lot of teams that are close to the top 25. I mean, in that conference, I want to play these top 25 teams. In SEC play, I'm loving that those are our 2 toughest games. We have 2 games to really circle on here. So I know this is like getting a little ahead of ourselves ring chasing wise, but I'm just excited for the schedule.
Hey, look, the way we're playing, I don't think it's bad to ring chase. And again, we're going to find out how good Mississippi State is. In addition to playing Alabama at home tonight, they're going to go on the road to Rupp Arena against a Kentucky team that just took a bad loss in overtime on the road. Now they're going to be back at home. We're going to find out what Mississippi State is made of. That's going to be your appetizer Wednesday night. That game tips at 7 o'clock. And so they'll be the game right before we start. So you'll have a chance to see just how good Mississippi State is after tonight.
Well, Ben, anything else you want to talk about while we're still recording before we just go to the live portion of this?
Man, enjoy this team. Enjoy this run. We're having so much more fun than last year. The monkey's off our back. We started the year unranked. Everybody was doubting us, unlike last year. Last year, we started the year ranked, and it was just, can we hold on? Now it's not, can we hold on, man? We're accelerating. We're looking at this thing going, how fast can we go? We haven't hit the red yet. Let's keep on that accelerator.
Yeah, I guess the last thing I would say to everybody in the chat, to anybody listening at home, are you having fun yet?
Oh, we're having fun yet.
War Eagle, guys.
War Eagle. Sweet. Okay,
Oh,
recording will
all
be
right.
converted to MP2. And then, all right, so the meeting's got to end before we can finish recording it. But I'm gonna pop out because I'm here with Sarah's family. For all of you in the chat, hanging out in Los Angeles, California,
Oh, I meant
which
to
is
mention
great.
we're from coast to coast here, LA and New York, talking about Auburn
Mhm.
basketball. Not every day.
LA
Nice.
baby.
Don't flash
But
any gang
I'm gonna
signs on our podcast. We can't get shot by the Bloods and the Crips over here.
what are we talking about? We're on YouTube now. None of that matters. But
Biggie, man.
chat. I'm leaving you with for a little while, Jackson. Just shoot me a text whenever you're wrapped up here. All right.
Cool. Yeah, it should pop out to you whenever you hang up.
Sweet.
So
See ya.
cool. See ya. I guess we can look at the Alabama score here. I don't like to talk about it in the recording, but Mississippi State's up 21-17. Pretty good. Like I said, they'll probably be ranked and probably getting some hype. They've lost. I don't know who they lost to. Who did they lose to? Beat Tennessee at home. I mean, South Carolina, that's who they lost to. South Carolina's been hot. I wonder if they might get ranked at this point. 13-1 South Carolina is. Let's see who they've lost to. They lost to Alabama bad though. Dang. I think I remember that. South Carolina had it close at half, and then Alabama just flew by them. I guess we can look at Twitter if you guys want to look at Twitter again. Or X. I refuse to call it that, but LSU basketball here. Got some good LSU friends. Scott, Zach, Jacob. I messaged them and I said, "You guys suck so badly, you probably don't even know we're playing tonight." Oh, it's quarter zip guy. Bring that guy on the podcast. Nice, nice. Any of you guys in the chat from Mobile? This must be the guy that played coach. I know he was at Murray State. I didn't realize he had John Morant on the team if he was around for that long. I mean, this is the guy after Will Wade. I guess now I think about it, it was a good hire, even though they were still under penalties when they hired him. I remember I was at that game, the Final Four Auburn team playing John Morant's Murray State. We had no idea. I mean, we knew John Morant was like a potential NBA pick. We had no idea we had a Final Four team. And I thought we were gonna be good, but man, I wish like I realized at the time. I mean, I had a great time at the game, but like I don't think people realized what a cool matchup we were watching. Nice, Jabari here is playing well in the NBA. I'm gonna try to see him when he comes to Brooklyn. I mean, Cardwell was on one this game. He's always on one, but he's so fun to watch. Really gonna miss KD and Cardwell when they're gone. I guess does KD have a potential another year? He played through the COVID year, right? But he was at Georgia when he played through the COVID year. I hope so, because everybody's talking about Jalen. Anyways, I hope he sticks around. Cardwell does all the things that I would do if I was in college. He does all the activities. Wow, deep cut, deep cut. Vice president shooting people up and then getting them to apologize for getting shot. Oh yeah. Totally agree. I was saying put in the walk-ons. Oh my God, did y'all hear about this LSU scandal a while back? They were stealing money from the children's hospital to pay recruits, pay for athletics. They almost went bankrupt as a university because the athletics, but I'm surprised we haven't heard a story about that yet. Just the crazy, insane arms race that college sports has been over the last, I don't know, 15 years or so. All the crazy facilities, all the money going into sports, it's not going to the university, people overpaying just to keep up. Somebody's going to go bust eventually. LSU was almost the team that did that, surprisingly. Nice, love this. I wonder if this is AI or somebody actually drew this or not. I want the Jungle Boys to get an Auburn blazer like this with a patch that says the jungle on it. I thought we were gonna break them, but hey, shout out for them to keeping in the game. Do we play at? We don't even play at LSU this year, do we? Yeah, no at LSU this year, which wouldn't have been so terrible because they're not that great. But Chad, Baker, Mazara. All right, guys, fun being on a Saturday night with you. I'm gonna head out. War Eagle, everybody. Another great victory for Auburn.